This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pointy Bakery. If you're located in the Pointy area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pointy Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. Okay, let's start off with, I guess, like the biggest piece of news this week, which is Joe Rogan got COVID. And that was an odd one because he kept touting, like, you know, oh, I'm on all these supplements and like whatever, and like my immunity's so strong I can't get COVID.
He was saying that?
He was saying that before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And like on his podcast. And then he was saying like, oh, I don't think the shot should be for healthy young people. So like, he didn't take the shot because he's like, oh, I'm strong, right? And he was even saying how when Dave Chappelle's whole team got COVID, he was there too, but he didn't get COVID. So he's like, oh, okay, maybe it's something to do with like vitamin D, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then he ended up getting COVID. So that's one thing. It's all right. So that shows you that it's like, okay, this dude is super healthy. He's on all of the supplements, all of the TRT, steroids, all that stuff. And like, he got it, unlike he thought he would get it. Mm-hmm. But the other crazy part is that in his pursuit to heal himself from COVID, he took everything.
Yeah.
And he even said that in his video. And what was crazy is he posted that video of the tour cancellation and like why he had to cancel the tour because of COVID. But he didn't even seem back. He's like, oh, I feel great. But he was like out of breath. And you're like, oh, I don't know if that's true. And then, see, what's weird is like, you could have just taken the one shot with very minimal side effects. Like just take the Pfizer or the Moderna. I would opt for Pfizer, and like there's like basically no side effects that we know of so far, right? Like nothing too major.
Yeah, nothing major.
Right. Yeah. But instead you got COVID. You seemed really sick. Like he was saying he felt really bad the day of. And then you just pumped your body with so many more chemicals that are more untested. So it's like you're kind of doing the thing that you didn't want to do, which is subject your body to untested treatments.
Yeah, but also it's also like by pumping yourself with all the whatever drugs and stuff, it's like I thought your body could fight it off. You know,
okay, well that's another piece, which is like the hypocritical aspect. Like if that's like the people that are anti-vax and then they go to the hospital and then it's like, but we said you need to get the vaccine, but you chose not to get it. Yeah. So that's on you. Yeah. You know, so it's like, why are you going to use modern medicine? Which remember he's like, oh, through the greatness of modern medicine, I got over this. It's like, but the vaccine is modern medicine too. Yeah,
you know what the other funny thing was with the vaccine? It's like the anti-vaxxers focus on side effects, right, of the vaccine.
Yeah, totally.
Comparing it to deaths from COVID, but also we forget that there are that some people get long COVID, which are like the side effects of COVID that continue on.
Right. So even if, like, he posted a few days ago that he's negative from COVID, but we don't know if the side effects are gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
you're not like, you could be negative from the virus, but whatever the virus did to you, it will your recovery may be longer.
Yeah, totally. So we'll see when he starts doing podcasts again to see, like, is he back to normal? Is he like gasping for air? All that stuff. it's so sad to me because it's like, just take the vaccine. You shoot yourself up with steroids and all this stuff, TRT. It's like, so you're obviously not afraid of needles. What is it about the vaccine?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Like, why didn't you just get it? I mean, it would be pretty nuts if he goes on the podcast. He's like, I did get the vaccine and this still happened to me. But that's not what he said in his video. He's just like, yeah, he got COVID.
Yeah.
So like, we don't know if maybe he did, but he would have said that because he's been adamant about people who get the vaccine still get COVID.
Yeah.
Like, he keeps saying that. He's like, oh yeah, I know this dude who had the vaccine, but he's still really sick from COVID. And it's like, okay, so like,
but again, it's not like, it doesn't mean you're not going to get COVID.
yeah, totally.
Right. That's not what the vaccine is doing.
Well, they've stated that too. It's like, even when he says that, it's like, yeah, but they said that. So like, why are you using that as if it's like surprising news?
Yeah. It's more like to be needing to go, like, to be hospitalized.
Yeah, totally.
It's like about 97% effective against preventing you from being hospitalized.
Right. So here's the crazy part. So one, it's a privileged state that he could subject himself to so many treatments. But two, it's like the vaccine would have done its job by not having you had to get all those treatments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like way the greater evil. And then like being like, oh yeah, like I've seen the comments being like, oh, natural immunity. I'm like, what natural immunity? Like everyone's like, oh, congrats, now you can enjoy that natural immunity. I'm like, but you use modern medicines. So it's really the immunity from those medicines. Like, you built up
what made
that,
you? Yeah.
You know, it's like, which way do you want? Do you want to climb the longer route, or do you just want to take the shorter path, which is just get the vaccine?
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy to me. And also, if everyone did what he did, there wouldn't be. So the reason why you created this vaccine is so that everyone can get it. And we don't have to worry about hospitalizations. But if everyone did what he did, like he's like, oh yeah, I just took ivermectin and all these drugs, it's like we'd have a deficit of those things.
Yeah.
And it would also require more strain on the healthcare system, which is not what they wanted.
Yeah, and then he also pays for like very good healthcare, right? So he's got the money to do that. Yeah, he's got the money to do that, while other people just just read the news. Oh, ivermectin is the new drug, right?
But he said he took ivermectin too.
Yeah. He said that too specifically, and
so now everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I'll just take ivermectin." But it's like, yeah, but he said he took a concoction of everything.
Yeah, but also it's like it's not like he just took ivermectin, whatever. Like the doctors probably gave him small, like how much of a dose he needs and these sort of things. Yeah. But like he's got the money and these doctors to do that. Where people are just going to buy the drug.
And they're gonna think it's gonna work, but it's like, but can you afford? See, it's like the vaccine's free, right? Healthcare in the U.S. is not free. Here, it's free. So what they're worrying about now is like, oh, we don't want to strain the system because it's free. But in America, it's like, well, that costs money. So it's like you're gonna take the more expensive option, the more deadly option, than just getting the vaccine, which is free.
Yeah,
like it makes no sense to me. Yeah. I mean, he's still great. Like, can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's just one thing that he's like obsessed with.
Yeah,
so
there are problems. No one's perfect, right? But
like, he still has like amazing guests on there. His insight on life is great. His motivation.
Sure. Yeah,
but it's just with this one thing, I'm like, I don't think you were thinking about.
Yeah. I mean, we all make mistakes. Yeah, but totally. We'll see.
Yeah. It's weird because it's like when people look at him. Like, all right, so there was this thing a long time ago. I won't name who the person was, but like we were hanging out, and then the person's like, oh, I want to be as jacked as The Rock. And I was like, oh, it's a lot of steroids. And he's like, no, The Rock doesn't do steroids. And I'm like, what? But okay, so how do you know that? He's like, no, he's like he's got to be all natural, because in his head he thinks that's like achievable, all natural.
Yeah.
But if you look at things like the UFC and metabolic steroids, if you listen to Joe Rogan taking all of his like supplements, like so many, like even Dak Shepard, this other, I don't know if you know from Pumped. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was always been skinny, but recently he got really jacked, right? And then Ashton Kutcher was like, oh, you look really muscular now. You're looking very Joe Rogan-ish. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm on TRT. So it's like, okay, but you don't tell people, like, if people just look at you, they're like, oh, that's achievable naturally. It's no, these people are privileged to like afford a personal trainer, to afford nutrition, you know, that's
coaches and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. And like the ingredients too. And like also the TRT shots. So it's like when we look at it as the average consumer, you have to remember that we're all not playing on the same field here. So you can't judge, like, for all of the negativity surrounding the vaccine, if you look at it, the one main positive thing is they're trying to make it available to everyone.
Yeah.
Regardless of your status. Even homeless people are getting the vaccine.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, granted, in developing countries, they don't have the shot. But I'm talking about here. So it's like, even they have vaccines, like the homeless person. They're trying to make it an even keel.
Yeah.
They can't all afford freaking ventilators and ivermectin.
True. Yeah. I mean, this is free of cost here, right?
So it's like mind-boggling to me that you just don't get the vaccine, and you're disillusioned by what you think. You know, that was great to bring up that meme that you sent me, which is like this picture of this guy on the computer. He's like, hey honey, look, I found something on the internet that all of the top scientists in the world have overlooked. So it's like, oh really? You Googled something and like nobody saw that? Like, you are the one person who watched a YouTube documentary, and that YouTube documentary showed you the truth.
See, this is the thing, right? I think we've talked about it before. It's like, you want, like, I don't know, maybe it's like some human characteristic. It's like, you want to have a secret that nobody has.
Yeah, true.
You want to find out something that nobody knows.
Yeah. We all want that. We all want to be elevated to a higher level than everyone else around us. You know, if it's not like through monetary means, it's through like your job, or if it's not your job, it's through your possessions. If it's not through your possessions, it's through information. You know, so it's like, okay, I'm still better than you because I know the one thing that you don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
it's just monkey behavior, but it's like, really, the people at the top are really trying to look out for everyone.
Yeah.
That's why the vaccine's free. It costs no money. And like I've been saying, just like if you are as like worried as I am, like as most people are, so do like I did, which is I just waited for Pfizer. I was like, okay, that's the one with the least side effects. Let's go with that one. You know, like, sure, I could have got Moderna, sure, I could have got AstraZeneca, but it's like, if you're going with the safest option, then just wait for Pfizer. Like, but again, that's free, you know?
Yeah.
But ivermectin, I'm sure it's not free in the US.
No,
like,
no.
What if we even ask for it here? Do you think, are we able to ask for it?
I don't know if this is true, but I thought it was like, it's like a horse drug, or like
really?
horse wormer drug. I don't remember what, like, to remove the worms. I'm not sure. But this is what I heard,
so
that ivermectin is connected with. So I'm not.
So you're going to take an experimental. You're going to take an animal-based drug in order to protect yourself against something that we already have the cure for, which is a vaccine.
Yeah, I wouldn't say cure, but yeah.
Well, no, like a mitigation point.
Yeah.
That is up to 95% effective.
Right.
Although, you know, grain of salt, sure, it's going down because of the variants, but still, it's still very good at its job.
It's still good at its job in preventing you from being hospitalized.
Totally, you know, and it's like,
or dying.
But I mean, all right, granted, so I know quite a few people now who have gotten COVID, and one of, I guess I won't say who it is, but one person is 95 with diabetes, got over it. And it's like, yeah, you can get over it, but you're rolling the dice.
Yeah.
Even like,
you're still rolling the dice. You don't know.
The people surrounding that 95-year-old who got it and like had diabetes, they were freaking out. So it's like, just save yourself the freaking out and just get the vaccine. Although the reason why they didn't get the vaccine is a supply issue. They're not here. They're in,
I know. Yeah, that's a different scenario. That's a different issue in itself.
Right.
Trying, because they do want the vaccines, but they just don't have the supply for it, right?
But they got over it, and I was like, I was so shocked because I was like, I thought if there's like comorbidities, there's a higher chance of like death.
It's still you can still say relatively low but it's still like that low percentage is
But I also know somebody
overall.
who died. Same, like same
Okay,
age
so
group
that's what I'm
who
saying.
also died. So
It's
it was like kind of 50-50. Like we all thought that this person was like, oh, it might be the last thing, and they pulled through. We're like, wow, okay, that's shocking.
Yeah, I again, it depends. I think there's so many different scenarios to look at, but like we know. So like I can tell you this way, we did all the mitigations that we did, at least for Canada, right? Our numbers, but we still had like the mask wearing and everything, the social distancing and everything. With those parameters, we basically got rid of the flu last year,
totally.
right?
Yeah.
But think about that. We got rid of the flu, but we still couldn't stop. We could not get rid of COVID, right? Even with those mitigations, we still had so many cases and so many deaths. So if we didn't have any of those things,
how worse would it be?
How worse would it be?
That's fascinating. I never really thought about that.
Right?
That's true. You're right. Yeah, we got rid of the flu. So that shows you that COVID passes way easier than the flu. Interesting. But you know what's really weird? Now that we're both vaccinated, I'm wondering because so Dr. Rhonda Patrick was on. The irony of this whole thing is Dr. Rhonda Patrick was on Joe Rogan trying to tell him the benefits of the vaccine, but he was like fighting her on it, and then he got COVID. And I was like, ooh, rough.
That's not a good sign.
Trying to tell you. She was trying to tell you that it was safe. So, okay, anyways. So, damn, I lost my train of thought. What was I just saying?
With Dr. Rhonda.
Yeah, prior to that?
I was saying like the difference between the flu.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Okay, so Dr. Rhonda Patrick was saying also on there that it's not about if we'll get COVID, it's when we're going to get COVID. She's like, it's 100% everyone in the world's going to get it. It's because it's not easily contained. They're seeing it now.
Yeah.
So she's like, you're going to get it. But what is your reaction when you get it? So what I'm wondering now that we're both vaccinated, like, have we gotten it? We just don't know. Because the cases in Toronto, not Toronto, but Ontario are very high. So it's like...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So
maybe we did.
No, that's what I was thinking too. It's like the numbers are high. That means it must be spreading through. And like still the numbers are very low for the people who are vaccinated.
Yeah.
Like case number wise. And even ICU. So it's like maybe a lot of us are asymptomatic that are going through it.
Facts, bro. I didn't even think about that.
I don't know.
Actually, let's think about that logically. That makes total sense. So if we all have the shot, like 80% of Canada's like single or something, whatever.
Yeah, single shot. Yeah, I would say that's single shot. Yeah.
Okay, well,
but to be fully double dose, I think it's about 70 something.
Okay, let's say 70. All right, so 70% of all of Canada is vaccinated. So all the people who are going into the ICU right now are all unvaxxed people, right? And well, all right, not all. I mean, there's maybe like one or two or something, right? So what I'm wondering is maybe going out still passes it between, like you were saying, like maybe it is passing through us, but because we have the shot, we're asymptomatic to it.
There might be more people asymptomatic. Is what I think, but I haven't. It's just what I'm thinking.
Which I'm thinking actually is pretty like logical though. Because how else would that work? How else would the numbers being so high? Is it like only the anti-vax?
Yeah, it's because it's kind of weird. What I find kind of weird is like it's so 77% of us are vaxxed, double dosed, and it is like the vast majority of the numbers are still being from the unvaxxed or partially vaxxed, which are 33%.
Right.
So it's like. It's got to be passing through us, or
it has to. That's the only like logical explanation,
right? Yeah, because how would it skip over so many people who are vaxxed?
Yeah, it's like
to get to only people who are unvaxxed.
Yeah, that makes no sense. It's so funny too. I'm like, even now with like seasonal allergies that I just got, I'm like, is this COVID? Like I was in the car and I was like, I was coughing because of seasonal allergies with my dad, and he started coughing, and I was like. When did you get that cough? And he's like, just now. And I was like, I was just coughing. I was like, that is COVID? And he started freaking out. I'm like, no, that's seasonal allergies. Don't worry. Like I had to like put him to ease. But it's just so funny that, you know, you just never know now. Like maybe it did. It really did just like pass.
Yeah,
through us.
maybe you just had a couple of coughs and then I don't know, brother. Yeah.
See, like,
It's
okay,
like
now we contrast that couple of coughs to Joe Rogan's experience,
right.
and it's like, which would you have rather had?
Yeah.
Yeah, makes no sense. I don't know. I just like, I feel like this whole thing is like an intelligence test. Yeah, you're saying?
Like we see the results of the vaccine, right? We're seeing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
totally.
there's no way to deny it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So now what? Now
That's the thing.
you're gonna be that person who found something on the internet and is like, oh, I got the one thing that everyone else missed out on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. It's like, if you're using science to debate science, then why don't you just look at the science here?
Mm-hmm.
Which is
Like even with
you.
Joe Rogan, I don't know why he's saying like, oh, even the vax people are having COVID. But you can see that the vast majority who are going in the
Hospitalized,
hospitals are unvaxxed.
Actually, but you know what? Maybe it's because the information we're getting there, he's getting there, is different than what we're getting here. Because, you know what? Maybe it's just a localized thing. Maybe it's because we're looking at it from the outside in. That's why we think it's crazy. But maybe it's not crazy. Like, if you're in that all day and you're like, oh, so many people are like remember, I don't think we said it on the podcast, but we were saying it before, like during the week, that we don't get local news elsewhere. So remember when I was in New York, and then they were talking about Brownsville and like the shooting and like how like it was just another day in Brownsville, like cops versus robbers, you know. But to me, I was like, what is this? But because we don't see that in Canada. But imagine being subjected to that every single day. Like your local news is showing you this. You like maybe it's just like a media manipulation thing, because he's probably not looking at case numbers here. You know, he's not like, oh yeah, the cases are showing, like here we're showing it very logically, and it's like, no, this is working. So to us, it's like, it's a no-brainer. But to him, maybe he's fighting a lot of like conflicting sources.
I don't know like what he reads. It depends on what you're reading too, right? I think I mean, media is going to follow what I think generally what society wants to, right?
Yeah.
So that's the game that plays. But if you're looking at actual like reports of numbers, those are not something that you make up. But
we're not looking at but that's totally, I agree with you. But we're not looking at the same reports.
Yeah, I don't know what he's
We're looking at Canadian reports, and we're like, okay.
Yeah, but I'm still like sure, but I don't know how you don't come across that vast majority are unvaxxed in the hospital. But you're focusing on people who are vaxxed still getting it. You know what I mean? But that number is smaller compared to...
True, but I don't know where...
Like, if you just read about, like, yeah, if you're reading headlines that say, oh, another unvaxxed person got it, or another unvaxxed... You know what I mean?
Yeah, but maybe...
If that's what you're reading, yeah, sure, then that is a miss...
But that's what I mean. Like, maybe that's what the outlets are reporting on. Like, those outlets aren't reporting on the differentiation.
Yeah, but I think but again, it's like, yeah, but as a person, if he's looking at statewide stuff, I think he would be, right?
I guess.
Like, you wouldn't just be looking locally.
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out, like, why is there such a difference between, like, America and the rest of the world? Because they're, like, the leading one for anti-vax,
there's almost, the thing is this, like, almost 50% of people don't even believe COVID is the real thing.
In America?
Yeah, it's like the world. I'm talking about the world. Like, they don't even believe that it's...
Even in the world?
I think it's like that.
Oh.
Or like this misinformation has led people to believe where it's like, I don't know if it's real or not. Like the thing I was watching where it was like what happened in China.
Okay, wait. Oh, actually, go ahead, finish.
Right, whatever they're happening in China, and they were trying to get out the information of how many people are sick and dying.
Right.
Where the government wasn't allowing them to do that.
Right.
Where here in America, when it came, it's like, this is all fake. This is not a real thing.
Yeah.
So that's what's happened.
Yeah.
Where they don't think COVID's a real... There's a lot of them like that.
But I wonder... So I was talking to my cousin about it, and he was saying that... Because I was like, oh, are there like a lot of anti-vax people in the Philippines? And he's like, I wouldn't know because there's not enough vaccines, so anybody who wants it will go and get it. Like, he's like, maybe if there was a surplus, then we get to see like the people who are anti-vax, but like those people are hiding like in their holes because they don't have to get it.
Right.
Because there's no supply.
Yeah. I get
So
that.
it's like maybe that's an issue too. It's like, would you have so much abundance that you can see the conflict of people's like desire to get it or not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I find it very odd that America is like leading the world in anti-vax. Yeah.
Yeah, in many other states, you can, like, we were looking at the numbers of case numbers, right? It's like Alabama, Texas, Florida, their numbers are almost as high as where they had their peaks at. And it's like, but like things like New York and California are not even close to their peaks, right?
Totally. Yeah,
they have more population too. So it's like, that's because those states had higher vaccination rates.
Right.
I don't know.
So even looking at like that, it's like that already shows you that it's working.
Yeah, and then like there was a story,
the gallstone.
Yeah, the gallstone story where a veteran, because they had to say, like saying it, you know, because it's like in America, it's like everyone reveres a veteran, right?
Yeah.
So it's like he couldn't get a bed in like Houston or like outside of Houston hospitals for a gallstone removal, which is like a 30-minute operation. All the beds were full of people with COVID.
Yeah, that's too bad.
And he passed away.
Yeah. So it's like we need to fix that issue too. Like, yeah, they were saying that because of the whole COVID thing, a lot of people aren't getting their other vaccinations or their checkups. You know,
yeah. So that's again hurting the whole system.
And that's why they're like, let's just nip this in the bud. Let's all get vaccinated.
Yeah. Like, do you want another lockdown? Like, this is where it's leading to.
Yeah, true. Do you think? But I think I asked in the last podcast. But do you think they'll actually do one?
I think I said no before, but I feel like if we reach whatever goals we need to reach with the vaccine, I don't think we will.
Okay.
As long as we reach that.
Yeah.
But I feel if it like goes too high, like what we had earlier, like the ICU numbers and hospitalizations, then they would probably need to do some mitigation, which is certain lockdowns. So I wonder, like, along with reaching the vaccine goal, but also doing the vaccine passports, does that
they bring the numbers down and bring up the numbers for vaccination?
In the fact that we don't need to do a lockdown. I hopefully no lockdown is needed.
Yeah, it's a tough time, man.
That's why it's like,
It'll be very interesting to see how everything plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else about
I think that's all I had for COVID.
All right. So speaking of Dr. Rhonda Patrick, I thought this was pretty interesting too, and I guess it kind of relates to like COVID, but talking about numbers. Okay. Yeah. So you ever hear of the keto diet?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Dr. Rhonda Patrick started the keto diet. She's like, okay, I've heard so many benefits of this thing. Let me try and do it. Right. So she's like, 99% of people who are doing the keto diet are just on a low carb diet. They're not on a keto diet. Because to be in ketosis, like what the keto is, it means that your body's starting to use fat as fuel, not carbs.
Right.
So that but your body has to be in a specific state, and the only way you can measure that is if your blood keto level or whatever is at a specific range. Okay, so she actually pricks herself and tests her blood regularly to see the level of ketosis she's in. Who else is doing that? Right? Nobody. Okay.
No.
So what she said is, one, you need to eat so much fat, it's almost impossible to do, because she's like on the diet and she's getting herself in the number. And two, even the littlest thing kicks you out of ketosis. So she ate spinach, kicked her out of ketosis.
Oh, wow.
So she's like, what the hell? Like, I thought this was keto. I thought it was just like no carbs, right? It's not no carbs, because even vegetables have carbs. So to actually go on a keto diet is like near impossible, because it takes up to 24 hours to reset once you've like messed up.
Yeah.
So like when she ate the when she ate the spinach, or I think it was cauliflower. I think it was cauliflower. You just whatever the vegetable was, it kicked her out of ketosis right away. So she has to wait another up to 24 hours to get back into ketosis. So it's like, okay, if she's having a hard time, she's like, it's impossible to do. Like, you cannot eat anywhere. You can't go out. So all these people with like, they're like, oh, I'm on a keto diet. It's like, really, you're just low carb. Even those keto foods that people are marketing as keto, it's not, it'll kick you out of keto. Because even the slightest bit of sugar will kick you out of ketosis. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, this is like when you actually...
She's like, it's just straight marketing.
Yeah, of course. I mean... It fits in the world of pseudoscience.
Yeah, true.
And there's a ton of that everywhere.
True. There's a reason why people still sell crystals.
Yeah.
You know, and like those salt lamps. Those salt lamps aren't doing anything. You know, those like orange ones that people plug in. They're like, oh, this is like taking out the toxins from my body or whatever. It's like, how? It's just fascinating to me because like the whole health industry is all about these like keto snacks, right?
But it's filled with a ton of pseudoscience,
like misinformation. Yeah, like they don't really know
because it just basically it's a marketing tool now, right?
Yeah,
it's just like,
which is sad to me.
That happens. That's what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Anything that's easy for people to be convinced of.
Yeah, totally.
And the woo-woo stuff kind of like. Is a huge selling point. I don't know why people fall for that.
Yeah, for sure. It was very telling of our own human nature. When she said that, I was like, that's so funny that you said that 99% of us are not on the keto diet, even though we think we are.
Yeah, right.
It's really just low carb. Because the only way to know if you're in ketosis is to test your blood. Or, I mean, there's also like, Joe Rogan was talking about like breath strips. Like, you can like test it through saliva, but she said it's not as good.
That's what I was going to say. Like, is it the accuracy rates of these
blood is the most accurate.
Yeah.
So who's really doing that? You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Well, a lot of them would be even like against these sort of science stuff too, right? Like I would say the ones who are in these keto things, you know what I mean? They're already stepping away from.
Like they're in the ultra health community.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, like if you're ultra vegan, if you abstain from everything, then it's like, yeah, totally be an anti-vaxxer because you don't want that in your body. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting observing all of these things that show you that human beings are a collectively confused species.
Yeah,
easily manipulated through marketing.
Yeah, I think we're always... That's the thing. We're always looking for that alpha leader or something to follow.
Yes.
It's just
within us.
It's like it's it's within us because we've grown up with I would say generations of religion, which was one thing to follow, right? Then when you leave that, it's like, what do you follow? So you make up what you want to follow, right? So it's like it could be health stuff, or it could whatever works for whatever you're looking up to, I guess.
It's almost like we're like blood cells. We're like white blood cells. Because like, okay, if you are, so a white blood cell will listen to its programming, right? Whoever's programming it, like let's say the brain. That's why. So its idea is like, we all think, okay, white blood cells are supposed to attack viruses, right? That's their general job. But really, they're just doing what they're told. All right, so I'll link it all together. So that's why you have things like being, what do you call that? Where it's like your body's attacking itself?
Well, its own immune system, it's attacking
what
its own.
Do you call that? Autoimmune.
Autoimmune.
Yeah. So that's why you can get things like autoimmune. So it's like we don't realize. Like that's why I'm like, we're kind of like white blood cells. Like we're just following the orders of what we think. It doesn't matter who is telling us the order. Because like if white blood cells looked at it logically, like they're like, okay, I'm supposed to attack
Right, I see what you mean.
Right,
Yeah.
but like no, now the brain's telling me that even these good cells are enemies, so I'm gonna attack it too.
Right, yeah.
So it's like we're just white blood cells or ants or whatever thing you want to call a herd that's just doing what it's told. You know.
Yeah.
But we don't look at ourselves like that. We don't look at ourselves like animals. We don't look at ourselves like a herd species.
Yeah, because this idea of individuality.
Yeah, I know.
This culture of this that you are an individual person.
But like a soldier knows that and they're not an individual.
No, yeah.
Because they have to die for their country. But it's the civilian that thinks that it's more important than the country. But like we said, like treason is the highest crime you can have for a reason.
Yeah.
Because there's no individual freedom at its core.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, well, it depends on how you want to debate that. Because it's like, well, you have the freedom to like manufacture treason. But they're like collectively, the ones at the top are trying to mitigate any sense of freedom.
Yeah, but it's also I don't know if anything is technically treason because like whatever protest you're doing it to better your country.
Okay, true.
You're still following through with this idea of believing in your country to make it better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but tell that to the people who are committing acts of treason or who are
like technically
condemned.
even Snowden is considered treason.
That's what I mean.
But what he did was trying to protect or make his country, you know.
Totally, I agree with you. But still considered treason.
I get it.
Yeah. Ups, you know what I mean? It's
yeah, of course.
So what individual freedom? Like he has the freedom to commit treason, sure. But like in terms of your
it's the
power,
institution or it's like these governing bodies, right? They have specific.
Wait. Maybe this is it. Maybe we do have freedom, but we're actually powerless. So it's like, what good is freedom?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah.
What good is freedom without the power to execute on your freedom?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like paradoxical. It's like, yeah, you're free to do whatever you want, but you're not. You don't have the power to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
There's a very subtle difference.
Yeah, you can't go. Yeah, exactly.
You can't rob a bank because you want money.
Yeah.
Because the powers that be will stop you.
Yeah.
Right. But you do have the freedom to do that, but you don't have the power to like stay doing that or
you have the freedom to do that, but you're also going to get caught and put in jail. So it's
exactly. So it's like you make the choice.
Yeah.
So it's like the illusion of freedom again.
Yeah.
You know, which is, talking about determinism, free will, but we won't get into that because that could be a whole episode on its own. So speaking of how silly human beings are, the Tyrone Woodley Jake Paul fight is crazy that we're all watching that. That's already like, that's a great example of like the silliness. I mean, I didn't stay up to watch it like I thought I would because I was like, I don't really care. But what I think is intense at the end of that is Tyron Woodley was like, he agreed that because he wanted the rematch so badly. So they made $2 million each.
Okay, I thought he had made more.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But I saw somewhere it was like $2 million. But in doing that is like, I wonder if Tyron Woodley had a bet with someone else, and like, because he was like, oh, I'm gonna win this for sure. I'll put all my money down on myself. He probably lost that bet because why was he so into getting the rematch?
I don't know. Quickly? Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's weird, right?
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with pride. It's like, I'm sure he.
Or maybe he just wants more money. $2 million is not enough. I don't know.
Like, oh, I can get $4 million if I do. Okay, true, but the price to pay for
the
rematch is the tattoo. I love Jake Paul. I think it was it.
Something like that.
And he was quick to be like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, what won't you do for money? You know what I mean? Like, no self-pride there.
Yeah.
Or like, no, that's just accepting your prostituteness. You know what I mean? Like,
true.
It's all about, like,
Yeah.
It's weird. He did say, like, how can anybody judge me? You're not in my shoes. I'm like, yeah, totally, I agree with you. But that's
we can. Yeah, I agree with that. But we we can say whatever we want to. Right?
Yeah,
It's
totally.
like
Yeah, for sure.
you can do whatever you want. You have that freedom to do whatever you want to do. But we have the right, or not the right. We have also the choice to make fun of it.
Yeah,
so.
totally.
Okay.
But what's weird though is he said in the pre-fight that if he lost, he would do the tattoo.
Yeah.
So they brought it up again when he lost. And like, if you want the rematch, you have to follow through on your tattoo promise.
I thought Jake was. I saw the interaction when he was asking for the rematch.
Yeah.
And like
brother?
Jake, yeah, and
He's, like,
no, but
shocked.
Jake was saying like he wasn't saying like he was saying no right at first, and then he remembered. He clicked. Well, get the tattoo, then I'll do it.
Yeah, because he thought like,
knew,
there's no way this guy's gonna get the tattoo.
Yeah.
And then his brother Logan Paul was like so shocked, like, "Oh my god, he's actually gonna get the tattoo."
But did he get it yet?
No. So he said, "Send the contract, and then I'll get the tattoo."
Okay, so now you're adding the stuff.
Yeah. Well, no, I guess because he wants to make sure. Because what if he gets
Sure,
it?
sure. I guess so. Yeah, but didn't he also say if he loses, he's supposed to get it?
Yeah. So like, basically, your word is not valuable. that's what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm. So like maybe they set up a contract, but if you don't get it, it's like. You know what I mean? There's, anyways, yeah. He's playing the game too.
He's playing the game, but it's weird that like you're showing us that one, you'll do anything for money, and two, your word is not valuable. Because you did already promise that you would do that.
Yeah,
but you didn't do it, and now you're using that to get the rematch, and it's like, says a lot about your character.
Yeah.
Although I was watching like a little bio thing on him, and like he was going through some really hard times recently. So it makes sense that he wants like this payout.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, there was more money in that than in UFC. So
yeah, that's what everything's bringing to light.
Yeah.
Now with the whole Jake Paul thing, he's like, see how much money you can make if you're.
Yeah, he was doing that. I saw
like
like a thread of something on I think Instagram, like all of his stuff against Dana White.
Yeah.
So kind of funny. Interesting.
But what's interesting too is like this has been going on for a while. Like people have been petitioning. Like, remember Carlos? He had that UFC lawsuit trying to like get the money right for
the fighters.
The fighters, yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, this is the world we don't see. You know, we just look at them as like, oh, look at these like gladiators fight. Actually, there was a person who won. This is a girl. And she won the fight, and I think she won the bonus. I'm not too sure, but she was like crying, and she was saying, "I was so broke before this. Like, I'm still broke. I have to. I'm paying out the debt, you know, for the training camp."
Yeah.
And then like, and she was saying like, this money is going straight to paying off all the loans that she had for this fight. So it's like you could be a winner, you could be fighting on the world stage, you could have all this media on you. But at the end of the day, only you know the real story, which is the grass is always, or like all that glitters is not gold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's very odd. Like when she opened up and cried about it, it was like, whoa, what's going on here?
But like, you gotta have like very high level status to kind of like leave UFC, do other things like Ronda Rousey or like Conor. Have these, or Conor.
Yeah,
like,
did that.
But like not many people get to that level.
Yeah, true.
Right.
Yeah.
Or that level of name recognition to be able to then leave and do other things.
You know what this really reminds me of? It's actually gladiators. Because like the story of the gladiators, they're all slaves and like they were meant to fight, but they were actually looked as celebrities by the regular people. Yeah. Right? People like loved gladiators. Like the whole thing about them dying was not true because the people that ran these shows in the Coliseum, like they invested a lot of money into the fighter, right? Think of it like Dana White. It's like, I'm just going to let my fighter die.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of those like gladiator deaths are not real. And so the reason why it mirrors the UFC is that we're looking at these people like, wow, they're amazing. Just like the fans back in the day, but they don't realize that they're still slaves at the end of the day. Like they're still going back to their cell, eating the porridge that they've been given. Like they're like slaves to fight. And then only very few of them became so famous that they got their freedom. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So it's like, but that's the story of Conor. That's the story of Ronda. Like what you're just saying is like, you need to be so famous that you can make money outside of this jail. Yeah. You know, or you're like a purist like Khabib who already had the money. Like he was totally fine. He was just doing it as a means to like for legacy.
Yeah.
That's why he's not fighting for money. He's like, I'm fighting for legacy. He's like, I can make money outside of the octagon, which is very true.
Yeah.
And he's doing that now with like.
Yeah, I think he probably like runs businesses in his country too, right? Yeah. So it's like he Yeah.
Yeah. He's I can't remember why. I think he said like his dad was like, you need to have something, not just fighting.
Yeah.
So he like made him go to school, and he has like a business degree in finance.
Right. So there you go.
So I was like, he's handling his money well. Yeah. So okay, those are few and far between, but 90% of them are the slaves that we talked about.
Yeah.
Crazy times. Okay, so I think I sent you this photo of the Afghan person, the person in Afghanistan, the Taliban person. They took over the American ships, and then the one dude was taking like a photo of the other guy is posing inside the plane.
Oh yeah.
And what that really made me think of, I just want to bring that up because I thought it was really intense, is that we're all the same. Like that simple act of being like, yo, take my photo in this. It's like, dude, we all do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to go show my family that I was sitting in this American helicopter. Like when we look at differences, we'll only see more differences. But the more we look at similarities, the more we'll realize how similar we all are.
I mean, yeah, in the core of it all, we're all humans.
Yeah.
So we will all have similar traits.
Which is so, no, but the thing that like really blew my mind of that is like the marketing aspect of it is like, oh, these are the Taliban, they're evil, blah, blah, blah. And then you see that like, take my photo. And it's like, that is such a human moment.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This idea of monsters, that's what we put on them, right? But they're also humans, right? They're going to act humans. We all fall into certain ideologies. That's what humans do, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we like sat. I guess that's why they're like one of the biggest things that they did back in the day was like breaking bread together, like eating, because it showed how human we all are.
Yeah.
You know, we enjoyed each other's company. So like it would be really fascinating to like have a dinner with these like people and then see even more similarities. Like they'll be like, oh, I like this thing, and like you'll be like, oh wow, that's cool. Oh, this is a good song. Let me play you this tune. Blah blah blah. You know, it's like we are so fixated through ideology on what makes us different. Their ideology is like, like religion or whatever, and our ideology is like capitalism and like, or freedoms. Like, you know, like one thing that I keep hearing get touted around is innate human rights and freedoms. But it's like, what does that even mean? Like, what are innate human rights and freedoms? You know, freedom of expression, freedom of blah, blah, and like, freedom to pursue your dreams. It's like, no, who told you that? Where in nature is that written down?
No, yeah. These are of course, these are all
we're
what
both
we make
just
up.
Fighting ideologies. They're using religion as their rule book, and we're using government as a rule book. But at the end of the day, it's like we're all going to eat together, and we're going to be like, oh, we're all pretty similar.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I want to bring it up. It's like we really don't look at the similarities, but that moment was so human to me. I was like, wow. And it also showed me that iPhones rule the world. So Steve Jobs is like the greatest person ever. Because like, dude, this person in Afghanistan, they hate capitalism, but they have an iPhone. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
It's ease of use. That's why.
Wait, you know.
I know. Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's so weird.
Yeah. In general,
capitalism, but you're using an iPhone.
Yeah. How do you get that? Exactly.
Yeah. Weird. See, even like little things like that. The person fighting for this ideology that they believe in, which is like anti-Western, doesn't realize that they're using the Western product. You know, or even the Western ammunition. Hello.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's like those like climate change activists who like still freaking buy T-shirts at the store. It's like, why? Like, what's the bad part in that? It's like, okay, well, you know, that came from a truck, right? And the trucks use gasoline,
right?
So you're still contributing to the problem. You know?
Yeah.
It's very.
I get it. I see what you mean. Yeah.
They're both confused.
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah.
They may have changed. We'll see.
Who? The
Taliban.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
In due time. I think they said recently, at least the headline that I read was like, they're like, it was more like they're out, who's their outside ally kind of thing. They were saying that they're allies, or they're working with China, or they're allies with China, something like that.
Oh, maybe it was a Samsung phone, not an iPhone. Just kidding. Or maybe it was actually. But yeah, all right, sorry.
So that's what they were saying. Like, I think their first time saying something like that, being allied with an outside nation.
Yeah. Whereas before it was like you were kind of individualistic. Yeah, totally. I don't know.
But there's so many different factions. Like
when you say Taliban, like what?
The Taliban is one thing.
Yeah,
Al Qaeda is another thing.
Yeah,
ISIS is another thing.
yeah.
It's like they're all these factions are there. They're fighting even within each other.
Mm-hmm.
So, it is right now currently a failed state, right? So, but it's up to them to fix that.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe they will become like a great governing body one day.
So maybe with the help of China, they can.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see.
Do great things. I don't know.
This is why it's a weird time. Got COVID, passports. We got the Taliban taking over Afghanistan. Crazy.
Like you can't there's such a it's like, you can't go into a country and say you want a nation build. Like that doesn't work unless the people really want it and things like that.
Yeah, totally.
The only way to do that kind of stuff is like I can think of China and coming into Tibet.
Oh, I don't know that story.
Yeah, so they that's why the Dalai Lama had to fled Tibet and is in India, right?
Okay, yeah.
But the only way to change the people's mind in Tibet, because they've been there now so long, they teach the kids Chinese history. They teach the kids.
Oh, wow.
It's like
re-education.
Really, yeah, it is a re-education thing.
Wow,
so they don't
fascinating.
even know about Tibet's history or
Wow.
the Dalai Lama. Like they don't know these things.
You know what's interesting?
And that's how they won the people of Tibet in a sense, right? They've convinced the young generation.
Yeah. Oh, that's very fascinating. It's fascinating how education is the bridge for. Well, I mean, it is the vehicle for knowledge, but you can really mess someone up just by changing their level of education, like what you tell them.
Yeah. It reminds me of. I mean, it's also here too with the Native Indian stuff,
exactly,
right? So it's because there were the movie that I saw where the mom was more indoctrinated in Jesus or Catholic religion, where her grandma was still Native Indian stuff. So it's even they had a clash where it's the mom's son died, and the grandma wanted to do a Native Indian kind of thing, burial, but she's like, no, we have to bring him back to the church. He has to be properly buried. Jesus, that's what they've been taught now, right?
Yeah, totally.
This is
see, you can really mess someone up. You can really control an entire nation or a group of people through education.
Mm-hmm.
Which is actually Graham Hancock's big argument from before, when he's the reason why they don't tell us the true history of humanity, which is that we've been here longer than we say we have, is because that would disrupt our entire way of living. Because we'd be wait, we've been here longer? You were lying to us the whole time? There's civilizations that were more advanced back in the day. Well, I wouldn't say they're more advanced.
I don't know if it's necessarily like that. Sometimes it's been many years of education that you're been led in a certain direction of evidence. But I guess you need, I don't know. I mean, things do change in what you do get learned, but to be vastly different, it takes, I think, maybe vast amount of evidence wise to understand it. And I think I don't know if that's really going to shake people up to realize that we've been here much longer than that. I think
no, but the idea is that then people will start questioning their government, or it's how do you know that you know? Yeah,
but I don't think they were. I don't. It's I don't know if they were doing that to be intentionally. Who's leading this to be intentionally telling you that this is how it started? There's no other way. I don't think so. True. Right? Because there's no governing body like that.
Or maybe as they found out, they're like, oh, we can't just reveal this to people. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's like that. There's just how it comes, like, as it being taught to you. Maybe these things are happening in the university levels. I don't know, because they can do their own research and like the historical stuff, right? Because that is what's happening. Like, there are newer things coming out. Information is coming out. It's not. It happens in the universities when these studies are happening and stuff like that.
It's not being suppressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. But the point remains that education.
Because I think he just believed it already before, right? He knew. He understood what was happening with history way before it was taught in schools. And of course, he's gonna think that because but majority of people didn't agree with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally. But that's
the premise. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think maybe that's where he got his whole like conspiratorial mindset from, because like, guys, the evidence is so obvious,
all blatantly obvious. But
yeah. And then that built his like distrust for.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because he was ridiculed and stuff. Of course. The system did not help him.
Yeah, totally.
So you're gonna be not liking the system.
Okay, yeah, fair. Okay, yeah, you really deconstructed his psychology there. And I agree with you. Yeah, totally. That makes sense. Like, if you see something, and then nobody else is agreeing with you, or they don't even want to look into it, of course you're going to start to think it's conspiratorial, but it's not conspiratorial at all. It's just like, we just haven't caught up to what you see.
Yeah, because I just don't think there's like a person behind it all, control. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, that's what it seems like, but it's not. Yeah. It's not like that.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so speaking of things that are controlling, this is anecdotal, but Raul was talking about, shout out to you because I know you're going to listen to this. He commented something on our last podcast and it got deleted. And I messaged him, I was like, did you delete this? And he's like, no, like YouTube deleted it because it had like Afghanistan or whatever in there. And like, I guess they're trying to clean things up. And I was like, oh, that's so weird, because like I've noticed that with the whole COVID thing, I'll like write something that it doesn't even say the word vaccine in it. And it's like, it'll tag it with the vaccine link. And I'm like, how do you know this?
Right, yeah.
And then that's just like an algorithm control system now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's an algorithm control system, but what if the algorithm goes wrong? Like, it deleted his thing and added links on my thing. It's like, now we're just letting, like Westworld, remember when they left and then they're like, the computer's controlling everything?
Of course, yeah. I mean, that's with any algorithm where
it's kind of freaky.
It might hit on things that are not actually what it's supposed to be, like removing or something, right?
But then it makes you think, like, where are we headed? You know?
But these are, you're trying to build a system to help mitigate misinformation, because we know that the internet is filled with this.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But like, looking at the mandatory vaccinations, the vaccine passports, this like automatic placement of links or deleting of comments now.
The thing is, but it also is
very controlled.
I agree, and I think it's as a corporation, you don't want to have huge amounts of misinformation on your platforms. Because you're going to lose advertising. You're going to lose because they're going to leave.
It's all about advertising.
It's all about advertising. It's all about that. It's like, here, we're doing stuff. We're trying to mitigate as much as we can.
Every time people talk about making social media a utility, I'm like, why would they make it like a utility so then the government controls it? I'm like, why would they give up that ability to make lots and lots of money through advertising?
They're not gonna do that.
If like in the interest of what? Altruism? You know, it's like, why would we make social media a utility, thereby making it controlled by the government, when the government won't pay us as much as advertisement will?
Yeah.
Again, this is the whole thing about like the climate change activists buying clothes and not seeing. It's like, or the people that watch the UFC and they don't realize these people are underpaid. It's like, we don't really.
Like, I don't even think they understand. I mean, I don't even think they understand why there's even the banner saying, "Oh, this is talking about COVID or whatever, right? Like, that's because they need to protect their bottom line.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Also,
yeah, because advertisers will pull out. They're like, why are you not fixing your system?
yeah,
It's looking bad on our brand.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Yeah. It really, there's like a superficial level to this game we're all playing, and then there's a deeper level to this game we're all playing, and people don't realize that there's a deeper level. They're just looking at the surface, and they're like, oh yeah, this is how the world works. It's like, really no, that's not how it works. Like, you think, I mean, even like, which makes me even more scared, because it's like, we think we know how the world works, but like, what if even lower, there's like an even deeper level to how the world works compared to what we're talking about.
yeah.
Because like, we understand to a degree how like global economics works, but it's like, what about the real experts of global economics? And they realize like, oh, we're just like the white blood cell again, that's just following orders. Yeah. Crazy. Okay, so I guess to end this off with something positive. Actually, no, wait. You said something during the week, and I thought this was really interesting. Scalability of technology. So there's technology out there that we don't even know. Like, somebody's figured out some crazy technology, right? But we don't realize, again, how the game works is that it's not about coming up with the best solution. It's coming up with the solution that's the most marketable. Or scalable.
And scalable,
Yeah. So like, because you're talking about rockets, right? During the week. And it's like, yeah, but you can't scale certain ideas. And if you can't scale the certain ideas, like if it costs like $500 billion to create something, then that's not scalable, because you can only do it like one time.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, what are the technological solutions that we're not seeing that are out there? That are genius, but it's not marketable. You're not able to bring it to market because of scalability.
Yeah, it could be.
It's kind of freaky.
I
like,
mean,
oh, wow.
That's what they say. Like, design is easier than
That was the thing you're saying.
The scalability of it all and marketing of it. So it's like, if you can have great ideas, if it just if you can't market it in a convincing way, or you can't like build it up in a scalable way, then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right. You could do the best thing ever, but if it doesn't do those two other things, it's not gonna like work for anybody else. It's just
which is funny, because I think we brought up in the last podcast about like how money is an illusion, and like because it's like, okay, if we need like $500 billion to create something, but we need to create it, we'll print the money, and it's like, if we just ran off of creating the best products ever through passion rather than through money, then we'd have a completely different world. We wouldn't have this world that's like playing this economic game, because there would be no economic game. It would just be like, what's the best solution? Let's create it.
But we're in this game.
But we're in this game,
right? We're in the game of this economic game. This is the way.
But the economic game is an illusion, because it's built off money, and money.
No, right? I get it. Yeah. But we're in that system, right? Like,
yeah, totally.
That's what I mean. It's like,
what are you gonna do about it?
This is all we can do. Right now.
Totally. No, I know. It's interesting to speculate from time to time, like what kind of world we would have if we didn't have this, like, monetarily tied system.
Sure. I just, again, maybe we end up getting there eventually. I don't know.
UBI.
Yeah. So it's like, maybe we end up getting there. It just, these are the steps to go through to realize these things and hopefully get to that.
Oh, interesting. Or like what Graham Hancock has been saying, a global cataclysm happens, like climate change, or like, or like an asteroid hitting that resets everything, and then we have to play the game all over again to get to that point. So it's like, what's going to move faster, utopian society, or like collective working together of the world, or destruction? Like,
right. I know what you're saying.
We're playing,
Yeah, of course,
hit first.
But it's like, again, it's like, I don't know, maybe we're just pre-programmed.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep doing the same thing.
You know, I heard this really crazy. Yeah, I know, totally. I heard this crazy thing about simulation theory, and I was like, oh, this would be really fascinating if this was true. You know, like characters in a video game?
Yeah.
So like NPCs, they have a script.
Yeah.
They have a script that they're following, right? But they don't know that they're NPCs following a script. They think that they're alive. Like, think of GTA 5, right?
Yeah.
The three main characters think that they're really living out this life that is tied to this entire story, but they don't realize that we're playing as the characters. They don't realize that they're part of the story. So one person said something like, what if we're a simulation that's created to figure out climate change? Like, they're running multiple sims in the real world, quote unquote, real world, that's trying to figure out like what is the best outcome to defend against climate change. And that's why climate change for us is like our biggest problem, you know? So they're running the sim and we're just a part of the sim. We just don't even know that we're in a sim.
Right. Yeah.
That's so trippy. Right. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Cause I could see somebody doing that. I could see somebody creating like a model, like a computer generated model of how to defeat climate change, but it would require like the population of an Earth.
Yeah.
And then those populated people don't realize that they're just populated in the program.
Right. Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Wait, like, we'll never know? But like, that's pretty trippy. When I heard that, I was like, whoa, that is mind blow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that is kind of like what simulation theory is talking about too, right? So it's like,
ooh.
Yeah.
But you'll never know, so it doesn't really matter anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You'll just live your life how you were going to live your life. Yeah. Okay, so final thing. Do you listen to Certified Lover Boy? No, Drake. Yeah, you're not a Drake fan, eh? Okay. So we can't compare and contrast. Let's just talk about Donda. What'd you think? Now that you heard it, because
I didn't even get to go through all of it.
Yeah, you couldn't finish it, eh? I couldn't finish it either, bro. It was crazy.
I think still 70% of the songs I haven't even heard.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I think I got to like half. Your brother said he got to half.
I don't even think I got half.
Really? It's just, oh god, it was such a disappointment. Kanye West's amazing though. I just want to say that, like, every time we shit on people, it's like I always want to make sure I say something positive.
Right? Yeah. So I mean, they're not bad people. They're people.
It was the art piece that we didn't like.
Which is, that's the thing, is it's all subjective.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, just something like. Do you see that the meme I sent you where everyone's like, "Oh my god, Donda blew my mind"? It's like, okay. Yeah. So it's so funny. Like, even I played the first song. It wasn't even the song. It was just the opening, like Donda.
The chant.
My sister was like, "Turn it off." It's terrible. And then I was like, no, you gotta wait for the first song, the real song. So then the first song was the one with Jay-Z, and she's like, "No, I'm not into this." Yeah, too bad. Yeah, so there was that battle that was happening between Drake and Kanye.
Wasn't he blaming? Well, I wouldn't say blaming, but it's like criticizing Universal for releasing it without his knowledge.
Like they released it without me
approving it or something. But maybe they saw like you got to get it out before.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, because then it's a head-to-head battle. We don't want that. Because then it's a streaming war, yeah. So with the Donda thing, it's really interesting to see how many artists got cut from that and are pissed.
Well, yeah. You're sending me the Soulja Boy, right?
Soulja Boy, Andre 3000.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Remember him, Outkast?
Yeah.
So I just read it today. He wrote a whole, I think Big Boy, the other part of Outkast, I think he posted it. The song, the snippet. I'm not sure. Like, that might be fake news. Like, I saw him post something. He's like, "Oh, Jedi verse," right? And I think it related to what Andre 3000 said. So anyway, Andre 3000 was saying that he didn't know it was a non-explicit album.
Okay.
So he wrote the verse, sent it to Kanye. Kanye was like, "Oh my god, it's amazing," and then later on, he found out that it was a non-explicit album. Yeah. So then he couldn't rewrite his verse. So maybe that's what happened to Soulja Boy too. Maybe this is what happened to all these people. They're like all pissed, but it's like, no, we didn't want any cursing on this one.
But there are words, but he's bleeping them out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
like the N word and stuff.
okay. So all right, you know what? I don't know. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I know, but we don't know what the
happening.
stuff happening in the background. But I know Soulja Boy does streaming, so maybe could have.
He moved away from rapping. Huh? He's like the first.
He's on Twitch.
Oh, that's cool. Hey, he plays GTA 5, right? That's what you showed me.
Yeah, I think I looked him up the other time. He was playing Fortnite.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, he was the first one to make it big through MySpace. That's how he got big.
Yeah.
So it's like, of course, you would adopt social media. But so it's funny. You see that thing where Kanye posted Drake's album? Oh, sorry, an album. His address.
His address?
Yeah. So
really?
Yeah. So like, Kanye was like, they were like feuding. This was before both albums were out.
Okay.
So Kanye like tweeted, or no, not tweeted. He posted like the location, not the exact address, but like the location of Drake's house. And I keep saying like it's like one exit off of where we live. We even drove there before, so it was like. So when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I know that place.
Yeah.
So Drake's response to it was just like he just was laughing to it, and then I was like, oh, that's interesting. So he has a song on Certified Lover Boy called 7 a.m. on the Bridal Path, because where he lives, Bridal Path, right? And it's just a diss track to Kanye. So I was like, I think he did that last minute though. Okay. But that's the power of streaming, right?
Yeah.
Because like it was all about posting his address. So it's like, but that happened like a week ago. So you must have put that song together real quick and then put it on the album.
Right.
Because like to get
yeah. Right.
To get albums out now, it's super easy. Just upload it to Spotify or upload it to like your thing.
The streaming platforms.
Yeah. So. Which is what Logic did too. Yeah, remember Logic?
Yeah.
You're not into him though, right?
No.
So like he'll like, I heard, so like Mac Miller had died, and then like really super recent from when his album was dropping,
right? And
then he made a reference to Mac Miller in his album when I was listening to it, and I was like, oh, dude, he just died, but he must have put that in there, cause like that's the power of,
sometimes it happens last minute. A song comes up that is what you need.
But what's interesting is like, and that's the power of the internet now. Instead of before, it's like you would have had to put that in like
because you were already
in advance. It was already being printed. And, like, you're making the physical copy of the CD, but now there's no physical copy. It's just streaming, so you can free reign do whatever you want. Yeah, which is why Kanye's album dropped on the Saturday or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was Saturday. Yeah.
It's like the day after it was supposed to drop, but then it didn't come out, and then Universal released it. But yeah, so I was shocked that there was the songs dedicated to that post. And I was like, whoa, because like you're really showing how contemporary you are, that you built this on the spot, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it's a good album, different. Certified Lover Boy.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you're not you're not a fan, so I won't even get into it. But yeah. It's not what I was expecting, but still good. Yeah. Anyways. Oh, and Kendrick. So I was like saying how 2021 has been a great year for music, because like you got Tyler's CD, J. Cole CD, Drake CD, Vince Staples CD, and then Kendrick. Hopefully he drops it this year, because I love his music, but he said he's putting out his final album on TDE. Like
on what?
His final TDE is his label that he's been with since he was young.
Okay.
But and then everyone's like, "Oh, it's his final album," but I'm like on TDE. So I'm like, no,
that's me.
Because he started his own label called PG Lang.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
But it's weird, like, because I follow the people on TDE, like Punch. This is this guy on like Twitter, and like people were like, it's Kanye's last album because you're such a terrible manager, and that guy like liked it, but I'm like, no, Kendrick loves these people, right? But I think it's more of like a mutual business decision. But it's funny how like people take that one thing of like, it's my final album on TV, and they're like, oh, there's drama, bro, blah blah blah. It's like, no, he just started a whole new label called PG Lang, so it's like, you just want to grow.
Yeah, but it's like they were contracted for 5 albums or something.
Exactly. No, so yeah, true, totally. I agree with you. Contracted for a certain amount of albums, but also it's like this guy took Kendrick in when he was like 13 or something.
Yeah.
And now Kendrick's like 30 plus. It's like you've been with him throughout his whole career.
Right.
So, or 16, something
The
like that.
people just like to
create drama.
create drama, of course.
Drama. Yeah. Which is funny to me.
Yeah.
Again,
it happens all the time. Just for this, like, it's not real drama. They just want there to be something there.
Yeah, totally. Weird. Human storytellers.
Yeah.
Confused. All right. I guess that's all. Till next time. Any final thoughts, Fish?
Final thoughts. Not much. I mean, PlayStation doing something this week, so.
Oh, we look forward to that.
Yeah.
And was it Donut? Is it this week for Apple's thing?
Apple hasn't sent out the invites yet, but I would think they would send them out this week. Probably the 14th is when they might do the presentation.
All right, awesome. I'm looking forward to the new AirPods. Hopefully they're dope. Or else I'll get the old one.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Till next time. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors: Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.